You have decided to move to another city in Poland. And in this video, I will tell you how to do it correctly, cheaper, faster, and most importantly, with less stress. Because I went through this process literally a week ago. We will discuss where to move, the timing of the move, what it entails, transportation, changing addresses, and what to do with the residence card you have applied for and are waiting for, but have not yet received. And essentially, the most important thing, probably, is how to transport your belongings, meaning what options are available, because we had, as I'll show you right here, an enormous amount of stuff accumulated over 9 years. Of course, we sold about 30% of it, but there's still a ton left. Let's go. So, logically, you need to decide where you are moving from and to which city. And here, probably, watch our previous video, in which I talk about this in a bit more detail. Where to look for an apartment, how to do it correctly, whether to work with a realtor or not. Here, please, is that video. Next is the timing of the move, meaning the termination of the contract. Here are a few places you might not have thought about where you will need to terminate contract. First, logically, is your current apartment. And it's very important that this termination period more or less aligns with the start of living in your new apartment. So that, this is how I, for example, planned it, so that if you start living in this apartment in November, then your contract for that apartment ends on October 31st. The logic is roughly like this. It's even better to leave a few days as a buffer, either way. And to avoid the worst case scenario where you haven't found a new apartment yet, but you've already told them you're moving out. Next, the internet. For example, most providers trick you and you say, I don't want your contract and I want to cut ties, which means not paying, and they say, okay, but you still have to pay for 2 more months. The providers say they have a no contract agreement, which turns out to require you to pay for 2 months. Think about the logic of this no contract agreement. With such an option, you might as well have a contract. Like, you would pay less. Next is the garage. You are renting some garage. Separately for the car or a parking space, you also need to give notice, most likely at least 1 month. Next is the storage unit, a locker or a place where you store things, which is popular in Poland, meaning separate, kind of like small rooms, with a key where you store things. If you rent it from a private owner, you need to give notice. The next point is the car. Yes, I had a car, and many of you have one, your personal car. And the thing is, when you change your address in city, you still have the car, and you need to change the license plates. That is, my license plates had KR on them. If I move to Warsaw, I simply need to change the plates, re-register at the city office, and get new ones. Next, it's very interesting and important to change your address in all your banks. Where you are as an individual, where you are as a company, where you are as a sole proprietorship. And you can't do this online everywhere. For example, it happens that you moved to a certain city. And they tell you, okay, you want to change your address, come to us in person. You move to Warsaw. The nearest bank is there, I don't know, 20 minutes from here, and you have to take your passport and go there. Therefore, please do this in your city, at your bank before moving. Residence card, a question arises. Okay, I applied for a residence card, I haven't received it yet, and what to do about the address. And this is very important because all these residence card helpers constantly say that this is an incredible life hack. And they sell this information only for money. If you change your place of residence, then you change the local office that will handle your case. This means you need to change, notify the office, and change your address. That is, write a letter to have the documents transferred to another office. Well, I won't go into the technical details of how this is done right now, but it's just important to do it. Otherwise, the office will continue to correspond with you at the previous address. How to properly start a business in Poland. We have conducted over 500 paid consultations and launched more than 300 companies into the Polish market. And we have noticed that the questions and problems entrepreneurs face are recurring. We asked ourselves the question, is there a way to convey all the accumulated knowledge, experiences and skills in a clear, concise, yet effective form? And of course there is such a way. We have packaged all of this into an educational project, a product that you can now take advantage of. You will find links below the video. I would be glad to see you as a participant in our training or program. The most interesting thing is the stuff. When we realized that the stuff is a huge amount and it wouldn't fit into any car, we considered several concepts. First, to find a person, some friend or acquaintance who has a car or a vehicle, a delivery one, who could help us. Second is to use Trafficat, which means car sharing. There are options with large vans that can be rented to transport things. Third, what is the so-called moving companies. Of course, it's hard to call them moving companies. Honestly, it's a mess, and we will discuss why. But we considered this option. And lastly, to find some private individual, meaning a specific person, either a Pole or one of ours, who has a vehicle. He might, I don't know, work as a DHL delivery partner and has his own car, and he can help. Spoiler alert, this guy won. So we found a guy, certainly, indeed, one of ours actually, undoubtedly from Ukraine, I think from Odessa, who helped us move things from Krakow to Warsaw. The last one leaves Krakow. Lata. Bye-bye. Pros and cons. And in general, what nuances there are. So regarding these nuances, finding that friend, well, we just simply couldn't find an acquaintance who had such a car, but I think that's the best option. Traffic car. The situation is such that if the car is large, you have to return it to the city from which you took it. So you rent it in Krakow, drive to Warsaw, unload, and within 24 hours you have to return it to Krakow, which is essentially a bit ridiculous. So we also abandoned this idea. Guys, and by the way, it's not very expensive, it's quite reasonable, but it's not an option to go back. Then you have to travel, wasting time. Guys who are involved in transportation. There are also moving services. If they are Polish, then from my point of view, it's a nightmare. I mean, first of all, they are slow. Secondly, it's impossible to negotiate with them, and I don't trust them. I have the feeling that they are just so slow that you make arrangements with them and they don't show up. Then they pick up the phone and say, oh, our route has changed. They behave so inadequately. And if you negotiate the terms, yes, then it's below 1,500, 1,800 zlotys. We didn't find any options at all, yes, to have us moved. And at the same time, we say we need it in 3 to 4 days, and they respond in a kind of whisper. See you in 2 weeks. And from such jokes, when we were looking for a contractor, some ask how many kilograms or pallets you will have. Then they ask, on which floor do you live? Like what? They will be going to the 3rd or the 7th floor, and they add to the price based on the floors. Then they ask, what will be your volume in cubic meters? How am I supposed to know how this cubic meter is calculated? Of course now, well, maybe someone knows, but most of us don't know this. So this story was resolved. We found someone through acquaintances. I don't remember if it was a Facebook group or on Telegram. We found a person who helped us specifically as a private individual to do this. We agreed and moved. He did it much cheaper than these moving companies. We sat together, 2 or 3 of us in the car. The driver plus the 2 of us loaded the things. We arrived here. They helped us load them there, and here too, friends and acquaintances helped us unload them. Or if not friends, then it's clear. Movers for money, and in this way, this scheme worked. And I recommend to you at least 1,000 zlotys. That is the minimum amount it might be now. I would even say there 1,000 to 1,200 zlotys. You'll be lucky if it's cheaper. The maximum is probably 2,500 zlotys all inclusive. The entire move will cost you this amount. Well, obviously, if it's somewhere close, then okay, it's clear. But if you're traveling from Krakow to Gdansk, then sorry. Well, it will be much more expensive, but that's it, move. Don't be afraid. Now you've watched this video, liked it, subscribed to our channel for those who need it. Naturally, we can help you open a company in Poland or a sole proprietorship. Definitely. And have a good and comfortable move from one city to another city in Poland. Definitely move to Warsaw. I live here. I can provide a consultation for you in person. Hits. Friends, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Below the video, you will find all the contacts of our hero and his product, if you need the service, and in general about him, including his institute. Write your questions in the comments, what else you are interested in learning. And wishing you good business in Poland. If you need help with company registration, opening a sole proprietorship and accounting, also write to us. All links are in the description. Hits. Subtitles generously provided courtesy of the Matozog.